Hello everyone and welcome back to another Endgame video explaining another very important Endgame concept to you. Last time we talked about opposition, so if you haven't seen that video yet, I would highly suggest watching it immediately because it is vital information to steer your endgames into the right direction. In that video we saw how important it is to be able to be the one to step into opposition. Now today we're going to take a look at a different concept, namely zugzwang, which is derived from the German language, and it means to force the opponent to make a move, even though your opponent can only worsen his position by doing so. So for example, we can take a look at the position in front of you. There's a way for white to put the opponent into zugzwang, and it's by playing the move king to c2. Now this black king has no more moves because it can go to either b1 or b2, and also this pawn cannot move because the king is blocking it. This pawn can't move because this pawn is blocking it. So the only moves possible are h6 and h5. And you can see after h5, we use the very important rule en passant to take g takes h6. And after that, black can only play g5, and after h7, g4. Now there's two ways to checkmate the king. It's to promote to a queen, but it's way more classy to promote to the bishop. And if we do that, it's just checkmate. This is a very important example of how powerful zugzwang can be, and it can steer the game into a different direction because black was up 2 pawns, and because of zugzwang he was not able to win the game. In this video we're going to take a look at a very important zugzwang position, which is well known among very many chess players. And after that, we're going to take a look at a very cool puzzle by Paul Morphy showing us how relevant zugzwang is. Right now we're going to take a look at a very common position in chess where two pawns are staring at each other and there are two kings trying to capture the opponent's pawn and then promote their own pawn. And white is to move in this position, and we're going to see that if he doesn't tread carefully, he might actually lose this game. You might think, well, he's first to be near the pawns, so he might be able to promote first, which he is, but he has to be very careful. Let's say he moves to f6 first, and the black king goes to b3. Now there's a very important choice the white king has to make between going to e6 and to e5. One of them loses immediately, and the other one wins the game for him. Let's first take a look at king to e5. You might think, well, now I'm attacking this pawn and defending my own pawn at the same time, which should be good. But if we're going to take a more careful look, we actually see that this is a mined square. And a mined square is a square where you can only be in for one move, and after that you have to leave it. There's a very important move for black, which wins the game for him, and that's actually to step into c4. Now he defends his own pawn and attacks white's pawn. So white can't capture this pawn, but he can't defend his own pawn anymore because he has to move. He actually wants to pass this turn and give it to black, but he's not able to, so he has to move away from this pawn. He can't go here because it's guarded by the black pawn. And after this, black can just gobble up this pawn and promote afterwards. So you can see that moving to e5 was a terrible mistake. What he should have done is going to e6, which attacks this pawn, but leaves this square open to go into the next move. Now, the black can only defend this pawn from this square, so he has to step in. And right now, white has to move king to e5, defending his own pawn, attacking the black pawn, and the black pawn can't stay defending his own pawn because he can't move here. This is guarded by the pawn, so he has to move away, and then the white king can capture and promote his own pawn. So you can see that in this position, there are two mined squares, and if you step into them, you fall into zugzwang, and you should never want to do that. So be aware that if you see this position, there are mined squares over here, and you shouldn't step into them. At least you shouldn't be the first one to step into them. Now that we've taken a look at the trebuchet for dinner, we're going to take a look at this puzzle as a dessert because it's really good. This puzzle is made by Paul Morphy, and it was made a long time ago. And I just discovered it, but I'm really enthusiastic about it. Well, let's take a look. There's two pawns and a bishop, and the black king is caged in. This right rook really wants to take this pawn, and if this bishop weren't here, let's say he was here, that would be checkmate. But black can prevent this by playing the move a6 after white has moved. So we're going to have to prevent the move a6 by doing something. And if you prevent that move, there's actually going to be a mate in two by using the fact that the opponent is going to be in zugzwang. Pause the video right now. Try to find the solution. Which move does white have to play to mate the black king in two moves? Now, the solution to this one is really cool, and it starts with the move rook to a6. And you might think, well, you're just sacrificing a rook. Why is this good? Well, let's say first, if black doesn't capture this rook, once he moves this bishop away, there's going to be mate on a7, so he can't do that. And also he can't move this pawn forward or take because it's pinned to the black king. So the only move for black is to actually take this rook. And once he's taken the rook, maybe you can see it already, there's a beautiful move for white, which is the move b7, and it's actually checkmate. The king is attacked, it can't move to either of these squares, and it's just mate and two. So I just found out about this puzzle, and I'm really enthusiastic about it, and it just fits so well into this video because you can see how dangerous zugzwang can be. For your own games, make sure never to fall into zugzwang and be aware of this concept all the time. So now that if you've learned a lot about zugzwang, make sure to stay tuned for the next videos about different endgame concepts, and you're going to see that once you learn all of these concepts, you're going to greatly improve your endgame skills. So be sure to watch it, and I hope to see you guys soon. Also, before I forget, don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it just as much as I did, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing content. So, hope to see you guys soon. Bye bye.